If you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe and become part of this community. Oh, and also, go cop that fresh merch and listen to my new album in the description. What is pgLang? Today we're going to take a deep look into Kendrick Lamar's new creative home, under which he's also releasing his highly anticipated new record, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, which is obviously coming out next Friday, May 13th. So let's jump straight into this. So y'all have probably all seen the announcement for Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers on Oklahoma.com. I've went over this so much, and y'all also noticed that at the top of the press release statement that this album was announced with, it said pgLang, and y'all have probably also noticed that pgLang has been playing a more and more important role in, the creative stuff that Kendrick does over the last 2 years. In addition to Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, Baby Keem also released The Melodic Blue, his debut studio album last year, which Kendrick was also featured on under pgLang, although it was in a partnership with Columbia, but still in association with pgLang. So what is pgLang? pgLang is a company that was founded on March 5th, 2020, so a bit more than 2 years ago, by Kendrick Lamar and Dave Free. Now, Dave Free was the co-president of TDE up until 2019, so obviously a very close relationship with Kendrick as well, but then he left to then go on to found pgLang with Kendrick a year later. pgLang is officially described as a multidisciplinary media company, so not even just focus on music, but on media in general. Their own mission statement at pgLang reads, "Lamar and Free's new purpose at pgLang embodies something deeply personal to them. pgLang is at service to creators and projects that selflessly speak with and for the shared experiences that connect us all. In this overstimulated time, we are focused on cultivating raw expression from grassroots partnerships." So this is the official pgLang mission statement. You can kind of hear elements out of this that resemble some of the content that Kendrick also expressed in his New Thoughts statement, saying he goes months without a phone. He tries to kind of cut back on the stimulation from the outside world. So this is all like, congruent, and it all fits together very well. Now, what does pgLang even mean? The name itself. So Dave Free took to Twitter to announce this. He said, "pgLang means program language." He went on to say, "PG is the operating system. Bring your files, let's work, co-developers." So while program language, of course, is not a very conclusive, statement or definition, I think you can view it in a more philosophical way, being like that they are trying to program the system anew and trying to introduce new ideas and innovations into maybe an old running system like the music industry, but also more. Now, this mission statement, of course, doesn't necessarily just focus on the music, and while we all know pgLang from the music side of things, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers, I'm talking about The Melodic Blue, Baby Keem, and we're going to get into their other artists in a second as well, but this doesn't just focus on the music. It can also be broadened up to, for example, fashion. Now, pgLang, when they first were founded, already did short films with Calvin Klein, and we kind of saw their creative influence on that specific brand and that specific, line of films already. They also very recently, only like a week ago, announced that they had a Converse collaboration coming out. So we can see that fashion is definitely also a very big area for them as well outside of music. This oftentimes goes hand in hand. A lot of rappers are into fashion and vice versa as well. But I think coming from the mind of Kendrick, this can definitely prove to be something special in the future as well. Now let's actually look at the roster that they have at pgLang when it comes to music. So obviously Kendrick Lamar is there as their founder. We got Baby Keem, obviously, who released The Melodic Blue on September 10th, 2021. He's signed to pgLang in a partnership with Columbia. And then also we have an artist that only got signed about, I think it was, a month ago or 2 months ago, called Tana Leone. He's dropped one project under pgLang so far called Sleepy Soldier, which does have have some highlights on there. I kind of find it interesting to listen to him and kind of see where Kendrick is kind of looking at and getting his inspiration from. So definitely worth checking out Tana Leon. He's also signed to pgLang in a partnership with Def Jam. So, you know, Columbia and Def Jam have partnerships with pgLang. That also means obviously having Kendrick Lamar as their founder, they do have connections in the industry and can operate like a real label and putting out stuff. Tana Leon did have some stuff to say about pgLang as well, which I think is also very interesting. He said, "It's beyond the fact that it's artists involved. It's really like a family. It's its own ecosystem, and it really supports the creative. It really supports and respects everyone's mind and the team because everybody's there for a reason. So that makes it very special. It was perfect for me because outside of music, I'm creative in other spaces and I'm skilled in other spaces. It took me a while to realize I wanted to pursue music. So on that journey, I started getting good at other things. That alone is why being a part of a company like pgLang is so attractive to a multifaceted, multi-hyphenated creative artist." He's again putting emphasis on the fact that pgLang is not just focusing on music. It's also focusing, as we said, on fashion, but likely also other creative spaces in the future, and spaces that can have some influence on society. We know from Kendrick's music and Kendrick's activism in the past that political and social issues are also one of his main concerns and something that he wants to speak on. So that as well will likely be something that they will focus on. pgLang obviously has a website that right now I reworked a couple of days ago. You can kind of go through the whole history of what they've done. I think it's very interesting to scroll through that, so do that if you have the time. But of course the question is the big one: how will Kendrick use this further in the future? So having this all, you know, wrapped up, pgLang is not just a music label. pgLang is a space that creatives can get signed to create whatever they want. Apparently, we don't know this, but apparently they are very hands-on with the artists and creatives themselves. They allow them to do whatever they want to do and no restrictions on them, which sometimes a label can have, you know, trying to push artists in this direction and make something that sells right there and commercial here. Apparently they really want to support the creative and artistic process behind the work. So in the future, we'll see more work from them in terms of music, but also in terms of fashion and in terms of other spaces that they want to venture into. And this can all be connected. For example, film can be connected with fashion, can then be connected with music. We've seen this with Calvin Klein and Converse, but then also the Calvin Klein ads could be supported by music from the music artists on pgLang. So that's kind of what pgLang is. And I think Kendrick will definitely use this as an output in the future to speak whatever he wants in different artistic ways, not just the music, but also through those other spaces I mentioned. So that's kind of what pgLang is. I kind of gave my thoughts on this. Now I want to know what you think about this. Do you think pgLang could become very important in the future, or do you think this will kind of stay as like a side project that just the music gets released through? All of this, please let me know in the comments down below. If you watched this video to the end and liked it, and you want to stay up to date with all current hip-hop events and releases, make sure to subscribe, turn on notifications, hit that like button, and go follow my social media, and most importantly, join my Discord in the description. Until the next one, you'll have an incredible day, and you'll take care.